Hello, Patriots. It's I, the Questioning Patriot, back again for another video. Thanks to my amazing Patreon Patriots. So if you enjoy what I'm doing, please consider liking the video, subscribing the video, and subscribing to the Patreon, supporting the Patreon. But today we're on VOA News, and the article, U.S. Attorney says feds will stay in Portland until attack ends. And we're going to go through this story, but I'm not going to bury the lead here. We are in the right, folks. We need to have the feds here, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So U.S. militarized officers will remain in Portland until attacks on a federal courthouse cease, a top official said Monday after another night of violence, and more officers may soon be on the way. It is not a solution to tell federal officers to leave when there continues to be attacks on federal property and personnel. Yes, thank you for the people in the back. Why would we possibly leave when they're about to burn down the place? We are not leaving the building unprotected to be destroyed by people intent on doing so. So, local and state officials said the federal officers are unwelcome. Meanwhile, the mayors of Portland and 5 other major U.S. cities appealed Monday to Congress to make it illegal for the federal government to deploy militarized agents to cities that don't want them. This administration's egregious use of federal force on cities over the objections of blah, 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 blah. Pretty much the mayors want them out. Seattle, Chicago, Kansas City, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Washington. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, that joke, and City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty late called for a meeting with Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf to discuss a ceasefire and removal of heightened federal forces from Portland. The city has had nightly protests for 2 months since the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis in May. President Trump said he sent federal agents to Portland to halt the unrest, but state and local officials said they are making the situation worse. So this is where things get interesting, and this is where you can really kind of see that VOA is totally a leftist lamestream media. Trump's deployment of the federal officers over the 4th of July stoked the Black Lives Matter movement. The number of nightly protesters had dwindled to perhaps less than 100 right before the deployment and now has swelled to the thousands. Okay, so I want you to take that into consideration. They put that whole paragraph into the article to pretty much say, oh yeah, they need to be out of here. They're the reason why things got all stirred up. But I want to take you back to one day before the 4th of July, July 3rd. Which would actually, so this was updated July 3rd at 5:52 a.m., which means the action actually happened on July 2nd before the federalized military were in there. Portland police declare protest outside Justice Center a riot and make multiple arrests. Police said demonstrators threw items at officers and started a fire inside of the courthouse. So yes, you numbnut liberals, obviously our president is going to defend this building because this building just got built 7 years ago and it cost $175 million taxpayer dollars, okay? So yes, the federal agents were called there. You know why we're not hearing so much about them in Chicago and Albuquerque and New Mexico and all these other cities? It's because the people over there are not setting federal buildings on fire. As our president, his job is to protect those federal buildings. That's one of his many duties, okay? That's $175 million taxpayer dollars. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to keep going. We'll keep going. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Early Monday, U.S. agents repeatedly fired tear gas, flashbangs, and pepper balls at protesters outside the federal courthouse in downtown Portland. And I got to give them a total hats off. I don't know if I would have the patience to deal with all these morons. They've been doing it very peaceful. We've heard nothing of any of these protesters having serious injuries or dying. And that says a lot about the people that are doing the job. They're doing a damn good job. And we don't ever want to forget that. You know, we got this whole thing going on right now where we hate the mayors and we hate Fauci, but we still need to appreciate the job these people are doing because it is not a fun job. But anyway, some protesters had climbed over the fence surrounding the courthouse while others shot fireworks, banged on the fence, and projected lights on the building, including blinding some people with some lasers, which they could potentially have some permanent damage from what I read. Trump said on Twitter that federal properties in Portland wouldn't last a day without the presence of the federal agents, and I wholeheartedly agree. If you watch any of my other videos going over what's going on in Portland, every single one of them talks about fires being set, mortars being set off. These people love the fire, and they're obviously going to set the freaking building on fire if we take the federal agents out. Because here's the bottom line, is they're going to go down to in a second. The police are supposed to be keeping these people away from the federal building, which means that these federal agents should really have a cushy job. They should just be sitting inside and relaxing, but they're not able to do that because the police are not able to do that. So they are coming out to help the police, and yet because of politics and the mayor and whatever, the police are having to be like, yeah, we don't want their help. And it's like, really? You don't want their help? You know you want their help. You're getting pelted with bricks. Oh, it just frustrates me, all the dang politics. The majority of people participating in the daily demonstrations have been peaceful, absolutely, let's never forget that. But a few have been pelting officers with objects and trying to tear down fencing, protecting the Marco Hatfield United States Courthouse, with once again almost a $200 million property. Williams, whose office inside the courthouse, called on peaceful protesters, community and business leaders, and people of faith to not allow violence to occur in their presence and to leave downtown before violence starts. He said federal agents have made 83 arrests. Now, here's my thing with those arrests. I think we really need to look into fast-tracking the punishments on those arrests, because if we just arrest them and then they get right back out, you know what they're going to do? They're just going to try and be extra careful. They're going to be out there in their mask, in their hoodie, being a whole bunch of cowards because they know there's safety in numbers. And they're right. They're not dumb here. There's safety in numbers. If there's 1,000 people rioting, you can do whatever the hell you want because nobody's going to get caught as long as you don't kill somebody. So I feel like we really need to consider fast-tracking that so we can get these people really off the street. Demonstrations in support of racial justice and police reform in other cities around the U.S. were marred by violence over the weekends. Protesters set fire to an Oakland, California courthouse, so don't be surprised, because if that's a federal building, I have a feeling they're going to start deploying a whole bunch there, because that's how it works, people. Vehicles were set ablaze in Richmond. Richmond's not going to get them unless they were federal vehicles. Virginia, an armed protester was shot and killed in Austin, Texas. That's what really scares me, when we have the Republicans and the Democrats, they're like, police and federal agents are going to keep cool heads 99% of the time. But when you start talking again, getting real people whose livelihoods are on the line, who lost a business because of COVID, and the hysteria around it, that's when you get bad stews. And 2 people were shot and wounded in Aurora, Colorado after a car drove through a protest. The U.S. Marshal Service has lined up about 100 people they could send to hotspots, either to strengthen forces or leave officers who have been working for weeks, agency spokesperson Drew Wade said. I don't think there's much important down here. Some protesters have accused Wheeler of hypocrisy for speaking out against the federal presence because under his watch, Portland police have used tear gas, and oh my goodness, how else are we going to stop these animals? These Antifa absolute animals, just anarchists. But anywho, wrap it up. If you want to make sure that Antifa's bad guys, I think I posted a video about this as well. Also, late Sunday, police said someone pointed out a bag in the same park where officers found loaded magazine rifles and Molotov cocktails. There you go. That's what's going on in Portland right now. This is America. So what's the point of this video? Is to tell you, rest easy at night. The feds absolutely should be there. The lamestream media, VOA News, I'm sure CNN are going to try and convince you that they should not be there, that they are the problem, they are stirring the pot, when no, dates don't lie here. This was police. Before there was any interference, before the feds, they were trying to burn down this $175 million building. So yes, obviously we're going to get the feds involved, and they should stay involved until we get these numbnuts, enough of them behind bars, because as I've said before, each of these Antifa punks has about 5% of the courage they need to do anything. So you get enough of them together, they're going to have the balls to actually do something. But once you start spreading them apart, divide and conquer, they're a bunch of little chickens. But there you go. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, please click on that like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching the video, Patriot, and have a great day.